Good morning, and thanks for joining us on Shirvan Speaks, our continuing series on speaking with the loan officers of FitzGerald Financial Group, their thoughts and what makes the engine roll at FitzGerald Financial.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Shirvan Speaks is brought to you by FitzGerald Financial Group, a division of TowneBank Mortgage. NMLS number 512138. Shirvan Joseph, our host, is NMLS registered. NMLS number 188513. The contents are for informational and educational purposes only. We are not financial advisors. Shirvan Joseph and FitzGerald Financial Group are equal housing lenders. This is not a commitment to lend. Enjoy.
This morning we have Sandy, introduce yourself.
Sandy D'Zmura,
A mortgage loan officer, has been in the business for
more than 37 years.
just amazing, the experience level and who she is. Not only Sandy's qualification as a mortgage loan officer, but she's the kind of loan officer you want representing you because she cares about getting you to the finish line. And without further ado, Sandy,
Yes.
how do you help your customers feel comfortable? How do you get them working with you?
So one of the biggest things I could say is I really slow down the process.
Sure.
And even though I remember having a client that was older and
Right.
he had like 4 mortgages over the years. You don't have a mortgage for like 20 years or something.
Sure.
So you need to just go back to the basics, just explain everything very calmly, take your time. And I always tell people there's no question that's a dumb question
Right.
because they don't do it. This is all we
No,
do.
but that's
And
what
then
we
what
do.
I tell people is, I don't know a lot about a lot of things, but I know a lot about this.
That you guide these people from the beginning of the transaction to the end.
Yes, correct. And I really feel like if you go back basics and just really explain each step.
There's a trust level there that they have to
Yes.
trust that you're going to do what's right for them
Yes.
and lead them accordingly.
Yes, and I will say, it's interesting, when we get all the numbers in the computer, it almost pops right out at
Right,
you what's
yes.
the right one,
Sure,
which way to go.
sure. No, I totally agree.
And then another thing is I'll say to people, well, you qualify to like $1 million. And they're like, no, I only want to buy 500. And I said, well, that's a great thing. It means
Right.
you're overqualified.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So, and again, it's integrity. It's again, giving them direction
Yeah,
instead of they're not a transaction.
right.
This
Correct.
is,
So
it's
no-
a human, yeah.
It's a huge step.
No, it's huge. And people want to know that they can have someone that they could trust, they could confide in,
Yeah.
and that will lead them accordingly.
And one of the things I was thinking about when we talked about having this interview was, how can you do this long if you haven't been a truthful, honest
Well-
person? No one would ever want to work with you.
That's about 100% real
Yeah,
statement that you could have made, because that speaks volumes, just your experience alone. And it's
Yeah.
all about how you treat and how you take care of
Yeah.
people. Because by now, you're taking care of folks,
and
their
their
kids,
children.
and their children.
It's
and their
really, yeah,
friends.
it's actually,
you know.
yeah, it's actually a huge compliment.
Yes.
If someone
No.
calls you back and they say,
It's-
could you work with my
Yeah,
family member?
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
ultimate compliment.
It
So how do you let agents know that you are in good standings for closing on time?
Well-
When you're closing a transaction, and we all know that at the end of the day, you've done everything, you've gotten the person through the process, and then it's time to close.
Well, the biggest thing is we're very lucky because it's Gerald.
Yes,
We close
yes,
on
we
time.
are. Yes.
And
Oh, yeah.
so I think that's critical, but I also think just this communication, like making sure the listing agent knows, making
Right.
sure the buyer's agent knows, making sure your buyer knows. Like, this is where we are. We get the CD out and you're like, it's okay, everything's
Right.
clear to close. And
Right.
as soon as they hear like clear to close,
Oh.
everybody's just like a
You're
relief.
relieved.
From our end, we know it's going okay, we
Yes,
know we're
correct.
talking to our processor, we're talking to our closer, but they're on the other end, biting their, what, is it gonna close? Is it
Right.
gonna close? So it's just communication.
But the truth be told is that if they have a great loan officer like yourself, they pretty much have
Confidence.
yeah, that the end is near, everything seems to
Yeah.
go right. It's still, even though they might feel that, they still have to
Yeah.
hear those words.
Yes,
You're clear to
There's no
close.
relief.
Yes, and it is relief. Who is your biggest influence
Well, I mean, Danny's probably my biggest interest.
And Danny is,
Danny's the owner of the
right,
company.
Danny
And I mean,
FitzGerald.
her and I feel complete like trust.
Right.
And the biggest thing about working here, as you know, is we can walk down the hall and talk to an underwriter.
Right.
We can talk to the processor.
Right.
Nobody's off limits. You can go and talk to the owner. You can say, gee whiz, I have a
Yes.
problem. You can call him in the middle of
Right.
the night going, oh my gosh. So, and I did not have that in the previous workplace.
Right.
So you didn't have that open communication.
No, I
There's
get it.
something, it's just makes, we can, and it also makes it open communication with your borrower and your agents. Because if the agent calls you and I said, I've got this weird problem, how do I fix it? If I don't know the answer, I say, I can find out.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's one of the great things about here is that you have access to finding out answers in real time and finding out immediately. How long have you known Danny or been working with?
I've
Danny?
known Danny since 1984.
See, and that's incredible. Yeah, and I've known him since 1986. It just shows that this is a community in it itself that is geared and focused on taking care of. So also our team, I always tell people,
Yeah.
you might have been working in the minors, but now you're working with major leaguers because these folks care and they're going to
Yeah.
give you major league service. Gotta ask you, what makes you such an amazing loan officer?
I mean, I work really hard. The
Right.
biggest thing for me is I really like my job.
Sure.
I mean, if I go to a party and somebody wants to talk mortgages, they're always
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, no, I love
No, yes.
So one is that I think I really like it and that makes it exciting and I
Sure.
work really hard. But I think the biggest compliment I've gotten over
Mhm.
the years is that people feel comfortable because I really don't mind slowing down the
Well done.
process, saying,
That's
no,
beautiful.
no question's a bad
Right.
question.
Right.
And those people are only doing it a few times in their whole
Yeah,
lifetime. And
very
it's a
true.
decision.
Yes.
And I take that really seriously.
Yes,
So I
yeah.
kind of, I actually like it. I
Right.
think the reason why I'm a good loan officer is because I like my job.
Does it ever get old knowing that you are instrumental in assisting folks in their biggest investment and the foundation that you're giving their family in their,
Right.
they're building wealth and
It's
it starts
really-
from this point
it's
and you're having,
And it's really
you're
exciting.
the one that's, yes.
It is. It
You're
is
starting
exciting.
them off and in some cases you keep contributing to it over the
Correct,
years.
correct. And you'd think that it would get old. but
Right.
It really doesn't. And especially like to do like a 203K, which is a
Right.
complicated loan, difficult
Sure.
loan. But the people get into the property and they've got like $50,000 worth of equity. I mean, it's like amazing. Like
Yeah,
they're really
no,
helping
that's
people.
awesome.
Yeah.
Do you identify with any particular loan more than others?
I think FHA, just for, young people, helping them get started.
Right.
It's just to me, it's like a no-brainer.
And it's not only for young people now. too,
Correct, correct.
Because now the
Yeah.
loan amounts for FHA is like right at $1 million, although
Correct.
the prices around the Beltway have gone through the
Right,
roof.
well, it's a little crazy.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, let's say you want to buy a property and it needs some fixing up.
Sure,
You
sure.
only have to put 3.5% down. You don't have
Yes,
to rehab loan,
yes.
just keep all your cash to fix the property up. I mean,
Sure.
it's just that
That-
that fluidity.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's
And
awesome.
it's really also the other thing is like talking to somebody saying, well, what is it that you want?
Right.
It's not, we could tell them, oh, you can qualify to this and you can do this, but what do they want?
Right. Before I let her go, we're gonna leave you with our mantra.
1, 2,
2,
3.
3. I
I
love my job.